Hey everybody, welcome to Women in Business Wednesdays. We have the honor and the pleasure of having Rachel Cannon on here from FFL Unity. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you, Kali. I'm super excited to be on here.
I'm glad to have you. I know a lot of people can definitely benefit from your story. Now, you're in North Carolina, right?
Yep. I'm
And
over
when
here in Greenville.
okay, Greenville, North Carolina. And when you started with FFL, you were actually you in Ohio?
No, close. I was up in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Even
Okay. And
further
then
up.
you relocated over to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the beauty of the business is the fact that you can go from state to state and still, still do the same thing that you were doing in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I think when I ran business down here, I literally applied for my license the night before and it came in. Luckily, they're pretty quick, a couple
Okay,
hours.
yeah.
And I was running business the next day.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Crazy.
So now how long have you been with FFL?
Been with FFL now almost towards a year and a half. So it's flying.
Almost a year and a half. Okay, that's it seems like longer for me.
I
It seems like you've
know,
been here
right?
longer than that. But a year and a half. And then how long have you been in the insurance business overall?
Yeah, so I'm about almost ready to hit, 5 years in total, but
Okay.
kind of I count it just on year five.
So not long. You not long at all.
No, I mean immediately after college, I this is my first, career.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
just stuck with it.
you took a commission job after you got a degree. You finished school and got your degree.
Hmm.
And what was your degree in?
It was in engineering.
Okay, nothing to do with selling life insurance.
No.
Okay.
Which is the funny part about it. But my previous company, which I'm sure we'll go into later,
Yeah.
I took it under kind of, we ran bait and switch leads, but I joke around because I got bait and switched into coming there. Uh,
Oh.
I was told it was an internship and I just never left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They said it was okay. That's a good way. I mean, I guess that's a good way to get people in the door. It worked for
Yeah.
you.
It did. That's the one thing, a couple things I'm thankful for, that being one of them, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. And then, so since what would you say the biggest difference is from that other company? You said they had bait and switch leads. And if you're talking about this, we're talking about the same company. They have child safety kits.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
we worked leads that, we had some leads that they kind of maybe had an idea of what was going on, but everything there, it was always, hey, listen, I'm coming over because we're going to give you something free. And I have to
okay.
go through my whole spiel on why I need to upsell you and you need this for you and your family.
Wow.
Sometimes it was a little bit more obvious depending on the
Mm-hmm.
lead. Other times, I mean, kind of with the child safety kit, you don't put two and two together right
No,
away.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't be like, okay, yeah,
No,
this goes with life insurance. Like I definitely wouldn't have put the two and two together.
no.
So that sounds like that was a pretty tough sale, right?
My first brand new, my first 2 weeks, because training, it was actually really thorough training. That's the one
Okay.
good thing that they did there. But after my first 2 weeks, I didn't sell anything, like nothing. I kind of thought I was awkward, but it was kind of I got into a position where I'm like, you know what, I'm putting my all into this. There's not going to
Mm-hmm.
be a plan B. I'm going to figure this out. And
That's
I got
important.
what I like to call kind of pissed off in a good way, where I'm
Okay.
like, I'm going to make this work. And I did.
Okay.
And, started doing well. And I'm very thankful for the road that it led me to.
Got you. And then so the road led you to Family First Life.
It sure did. Yep.
So how did you find out about FFL?
So believe it or not, I actually, I started seeing FFL pop up here and there. I think at one point, I know you came from a previous company. We all
Mm-hmm.
get inbox and messages, from these outside companies. And I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I wasn't paying anyone any mind,
Yeah.
but I started seeing a couple red flags coming up. And then I actually reached out to Allison Liston.
Okay.
Because her and we had met previously at like a leadership conference in Texas years before.
Okay.
So it's funny how things kind of go full circle.
Wow. Okay. And then she told you about Family First Life and what.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so, what would you say the biggest difference outside of the leads? What is the biggest difference from your practice, your starter company to Family First Life?
Um, I mean, obviously the comp, but really for me, I mean, the leads, yeah. Um, I really got to feel like I could help any family in any situation because I came from
Mm,
having only one company where sometimes depending on the underwriter, I guess, it was a little strict and then it wasn't. And, we had our obvious guidelines, but if I had somebody who I couldn't get coverage, there was no backup company that I could help them out with.
got you.
There wasn't anything that I could do. So that really was another turning point for me where I wanted to feel like, I could help the family in the best capacity I could.
Right. And I understand that because the company I came from, the same thing. We only had
Yeah.
term. So that knocked a
Yep.
lot of people out. Right.
I ran into actually a lot of your policies with not your policies, but that
the
company's
other company?
policies
Okay.
in my last company. And I remember I'm like, son of a gun, because for some reason you guys are very loyal. Whoever purchases it.
We drink a lot of Kool-Aid too. So
Yep. I think you have to.
It was a lot of meetings and it was a lot of Kool-Aid given out at every meeting.
Oh my goodness.
So okay, so that's cool. So what's been your biggest what was your biggest month at your old company?
Oh gosh. Next nothing. I think like helping 13 families.
That's it. And what was your biggest month? That was your biggest month there.
Yeah, that was my biggest month there. Yeah.
And if I'm doing the math, you've been here for a year and a half, so that means you were probably there about 3.5 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
And that was your biggest month. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you probably thought you were like killing it there, right?
Yeah. It's so crazy because when you work in that environment, it's like push for producing, but then it's just push for like, recruiting. And that was it,
Yeah.
So, and I love coming here and like our whole goal, like I love having a team, I love the fact that we can build a team, but at the end of the day, we don't need a team. We're all producers. We all know our schedule and our abilities. And I think that that's so important because it doesn't allow anyone to really take a back burner and, have their team just carrying them to the finish line.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was huge.
And then your biggest month at FFL. So your biggest month was, you said, about 12 families at the other company. What's been your biggest month at Family First?
So far, right about 34 families.
Okay.
I need to get it a lot higher. And
that's okay.
I'm excited.
That's like 3 times what you were doing before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then would you say you're putting in the same amount of work or more work or?
Honestly, probably, over the years we try to grow, work a little bit harder, really hone in on what we want. But like when push comes to shove, like I was spending the same amount of hours, but I'm just working, smarter. I'm still working harder, but I'm working smarter and having a different perspective on things here.
Got you. Okay. I like that. Yeah. And then that, I think, is what it forces you to do, is because the numbers here are so big. Like you're like, okay, you're not like, I'm not doing anything. Like it's always another level to to what we're doing here. So
exactly.
And that keeps you from being complacent. You know what I mean? Because when you think, and like Sean Mike has made the bonus program where if the VPs are not bonus, like growing by 5%,
mm-hmm.
then your bonus gets lowered. Right. And
exactly.
So, you got to just work harder, and you know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing, because I know some other companies, small is big, and here big is big.
Exactly. And there's always people who are just going to keep on pushing that ceiling, and it's such a great thing because you don't ever get into a spot where you're complacent. No. And that's our company culture, and I love the fact that it's led by Sean Mike, people like yourself, mm-hmm. And other people like Mike and Frank in the business to really just kind of propel us in the right direction.
Now, what do you think, Rachel? What would be somebody brand new to Family First Life? What would be your biggest piece of advice?
My biggest piece of advice coming into Family First Life is just go all in. Don't, I made so many mistakes throughout my career, but my biggest mistake coming here was the first 2 months. I was trying to figure it all out before I actually went all in and figured it out. So, right. I wasn't plugged in, I wasn't plugged in with the culture as much as I really should have been buying leads, on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And just go. just going out there, because I came from the company where I was given maybe like 100 some odd leads for an entire year. So I thought
No,
that,
100 for the year?
yeah, oh, yeah. And then it was mostly, you had to collect referrals, all that stuff. But coming here, so I really thought, I'm like, wow, 200 leads, it's going to last me like the whole year.
That's gonna last for 2 years.
And I learned really quickly, that's not the name of the game. So
Yeah.
you got to just go all in. I know investing in leads was super scary for me, but once you see that you're helping these families, they're super excited to, actually be taken care of and make sure that you're someone that they can trust.
Yeah.
And then, obviously our high comp and the money that comes in, it's just a derivative of like our efforts and
Yeah.
the consistency really that we put in like day in and day out.
Right. And we get paid what we're worth. Like we will.
Yes, we do.
I think sometimes we get paid. Like sometimes I'm like, is that right? Like
I'm like,
right.
I'm like, I wish I switched sooner, but
true.
that's okay.
Yeah. Now, what would you say for a woman, right? Because insurance is a male-dominated industry, right? Doesn't matter what company you're with; it's mostly men that are in sales. Period is male-dominated.
Yeah.
So, what do you think are the advantages of being a woman and being with Family First Life?
Oh, God. I mean, there's so many, I personally feel, and I mean, I can't give it from the male perspective, obviously,
Of
but
course.
I use door knocking to my full advantage, and that's something that at first I wasn't comfortable doing, but once I really fell in love with it, because you're no longer, if you're having a hard time on the phone, which certain days, I think we all do, you're able to just kind of show on up. I'm not intimidating. Neither are you,
Yeah.
Plus, I'm no longer just a voice on the phone or somebody who they think is a telemarketer. I'm a real person. I'm all about 5'2" on a good day, so I don't really have
You seem
a hard
taller.
time
I see
getting
you in person. I didn't know. I thought you were a little bit taller than me. I'm 5'2". Okay.
We can think that, but it's nice because that guard goes from here before you're just kind of the person on the phone or they won't pick up to now it's here and it's come on in. They're more likely. I feel like, especially just put on a smile, but I feel like that's a huge advantage that we have, as opposed to maybe some, other people.
Yeah, I like that. And like at where I came from, I don't think we even did door knocks. Did you guys do door knocks where you came from?
I had to. I literally my life depended on it. Yes.
Really? Okay. So
yes.
So that was new for me coming to FFLs, knocking on doors, and it was a little bit scary because it was new. You know what I mean? But it worked. Like it works because, like you said, people see you, like they're able to put a face to the name, and
oh yeah,
they're like, okay, she's not a big scary life insurance agent. I don't know
no.
what they think.
no, and it really just drops their guards down. And even if I have to come back, if I'm like setting an appointment or whatever it may be, if I don't have time for my schedule right then and there, I'm able to come back. And the next time you see that family, it's like your old friends already.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's you. Come on.
Yeah, for real. Like I love that part because we build so many relationships. With these clients, and we're an important part of their family because when something happens, their family's going to be calling us to come and deliver the check.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal what we do. So since I'm talking about them, we got a couple minutes. Have you paid a death claim yet?
Not here. No. I had one gentleman, I remember him very vividly. It was probably right about a year ago at this point. Unfortunately, he already had like some serious health conditions prior to me seeing him. We tried to get him a plan, that we thought that would be best in hopes that he could make it past that point of the 2-year waiting policy. But there was 2 things I learned from that. One, I mean, always try to do the best because you don't know what's going to happen. And I did get a phone call from his wife about, I think it was like 2.5 weeks later. Unfortunately, it went really south really quickly. But that also, like really made me think about a lot of the people that we're seeing, and I know when I was new, people were like, I already got the insurance. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, great, you're good, bye. But it also makes you think of people who are like super healthy, or they might have a couple of health conditions and they inadvertently get put into, certain types of plans that might not best suit them. And
Yeah.
when you take it seriously, and really make sure that you're doing the best by the client, you're going to run into a lot of that. And make
Yeah.
sure that if something does happen, out of the ordinary, like completely unexpected, that family's covered. So it just makes you think.
Got you. Okay. So, you're recruiting. Are you building a team?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So somebody wants to join your team, Rachel. How can they find you? I know on Instagram you're Rach Canning,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
I
We
got that
have
down
that.
there right.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. I did see that before. And then we also have the Family First Unity on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. My cell phone number. They can reach me anytime. Text
Okay.
me. But
You
it's
want to give out your cell phone number?
yeah, I don't care. It's everywhere.
Okay. Say it.
It's 862-309-1665.
Okay. So thank you. And I guess my very, very last question will be, I mean, I know you're not just looking for women, you're looking for women, men, whoever wants to come to work, right? And,
Absolutely.
join this amazing company here, Family First Life, and change their life,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
So, thank you again. Thank you so much again, Rachel,
Thank
for
you so
taking
much for
time out of your
having me.
schedule. We really appreciate you. This is Women in Business Wednesdays. We do this every Wednesday. And if you know of women, this is for people that are watching. If you know of any powerful women in business that they would be on the show, please DM me and let me know. But again, thank you, Rachel. See you
Thank you
guys.
so much, Colleen. I
See you all
appreciate
next
it.
Wednesday. Bye.